give that to you before I forget it.
Okay. Gary, you want your water?
Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Leo, alcoholic.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm repeating myself. I just gave a lead up here not too long ago. Gary says he never, would you say you give 6 of them in 1 week?
Yep.
I don't know. First place, that just gives me a reason. I don't like doing this one anyway. We all, I imagine most of us know what we do up here. We say what happened, what it's like today, and a couple other things. I can't remember everything right now. My mind's going blank. Anyway, pretty much how some of you out there could give my lead for me, couldn't you? Why don't you?
I
Oh,
didn't get to hear it at the anniversary because the Al-Anon lady went so long. I had to go.
oh, you left?
Yeah.
Is that why it was so quiet in there? I didn't even pay, I didn't realize you
Not
left.
one person cheered for you after I left.
No, they didn't. I really was hurt. I was hurt. Anyway, I'm the oldest out of 8 children. You got that, Greg? Okay. And German Catholic family. What does that mean? Hard work, spare the rod, spare the child, and with party time, it's drinking time. There's a lot of parties. I can remember we used to get together with my mom's side, and they'd get together, and Christ, they'd all get so liquored up before it was all said and done, everybody was fighting. And I remember that as a little kid. Mom and Dad never drank that much, but I mean, they drank. Beer was there. I can remember as I was growing up, being the oldest, there was always, when I got into this deal, when I realized I was an alcoholic, and I knew I needed to do something about it, but I didn't know what to do. But I wanted to get the information on why I acted like I did, and why I'd done the things I did, and why did I drink and I couldn't quit drinking, and what was the deal here? Why did I treat people the way I did? And you look back on things, and I learned how to manipulate people at an early age. I learned how to get my own way at an early age, and I can remember Mom always would say, it's your job, since you're the oldest, to lead by example for all the other 7 children. Well, I didn't like that at all, because that meant I had to behave, and I never wanted no part of that. I look back on it too, and if I was told that I wasn't allowed to do something, what do you think I wanted to do? What do you think I was going to do? I never liked authority. Nobody was going to tell me what to do. Still kind of that way today, but not as bad. Let's just say that, because I realize where defying authority will get you. When I dropped you guys off Saturday, a lot of times me and Gary and Brad, whoever, Dwayne, we went to where'd we go? Went to Fort Wayne last Saturday night. I was coming home. I didn't tell you guys. I had a sheriff was sitting at Eldora and followed me going down 118. And years ago, I'd have been nervous as hell over that. What I was, you still, I don't care. You still look in your rearview mirror when they're following you. And all of a sudden, he turned his lights on. And I thought, what the hell? But I know that I had my belt on and everything. And hell, half the time I don't wear it, because authority deal. You tell me I got to wear a seatbelt, I don't want to wear it. But anyway, and he must have had an accident somewhere. He went around me, But I know what would have happened 37, 38 years ago. I'd have been pulled over and I'd have got another DWI. But don't have to worry about that no more today. We got pulled over in Rockford at one time, coming home after we went out on a Saturday night meeting, and my license plate light was out. I have never been pulled over because my license plate, you know what he's looking for. And he said, "Where you been?" I said, "I've been to an AA meeting." And he said, "Oh," and then he told me what was going on. I said, "Well, I didn't know that." He said, "Most people don't." And but he was just looking for someone drinking at 11 o'clock at night, you know. But you know, I'm not guilty no more. I don't have to worry about that no more. But I got ahead of myself there a little bit. But I was just thinking about that. Hell, the cops, you know, I don't hate them as much as I used to. And but you know, that's part of that authority thing. But I fought authority all the time. You wasn't going to tell me what to do. And you know, me and my mother fought all the time. And you know, I used to stand up here and tell you about how terrible it was, and it wasn't fun. But you know, and then the longer you think about things, and you work the program, and you realize the part that you played in it. That's the main thing. You realize the part that you played in it. And I look back on things. All she was doing was trying to make me behave the way I was supposed to, and she wasn't going to quit. I mean, she wasn't going to. Now, Dad, he wasn't that way. Dad was pretty cool. He could talk to me, and I could talk to him. But oh boy, them Sweetermans. But we fought till the day she died, and that's just the way it was. But that was, you know, and me being who I was, once I started drinking, Katie barred the doors. I mean, I was off to the races. I'd ran into a friend of mine, and he'd mentioned we could have a beer at home every now and then. I mean, it wasn't spoke badly about or anything, you know. But hell, Dad didn't know I was going to be an alcoholic, and but he'd mentioned something about if I'd ever drank beer and got liquored up, and I no. Well, I can remember I always remember my first drunk. I was 16 years old. The only reason I bring up that deal about my mother is because I'm telling you, it was chaotic, and all that stuff at home when I got liquored up enough was gone. Just like even today, if I got problems or something's bothering me or something pisses me off, I want a drink. I'll think about a drink because I don't want to deal with things. I don't, and I didn't realize that at first. But I remember that distinctly. All that chaos at home, and it was terrible. I'm just touching the surface. I'm not going into it very far. But all that chaos, I didn't even think about it no more. And it did to me what it does to everybody else. You know, you think you can, you know, you think you're just great and everybody's in love with you and all this kind of bullshit. But all you are is making a fool out of yourself. But I loved it. I loved that feeling. And I chased that drunk, that high, that feeling, and I never, from then on, and you know, I hear it in here, and then I realize, yeah, I was that way too, and I was a blackout drinker, right from the get-go, and but I chased that high till I quit drinking. I enjoyed it, and sometimes I'd get there, sometimes I wouldn't, but usually it was no different when I started, when I quit. I would have bad times. Liquor usually turns on you, you know, and it will. You drink long enough, and But I enjoyed drinking and partying and going to the bars, the bar scene. I lived that life for a long time. I excelled in sports at school. I graduated. That was a must at home, but that wasn't that hard really. Um, but I could have went and played college ball, but I already started a career. I decided I had a drinking career, so I got a job at a factory and got a job there. And you know, I if there is such a thing, I consider myself a fortunate alcoholic. I never lost a job, never lost a marriage, and I was okay financially. I mean, I wasn't sitting on top of the world and had everything paid off or anything like that, but I wasn't losing everything. But I do know one thing: if I want that, all I have to do today is pick that bottle up. That's all I got to do. And but I was enjoying life. I enjoyed the fast life, and you know, and got in a lot of trouble, a lot of DWIs. And Mom always told me, you are who your friends are. You can blame that guy right over there in the corner.
He does it every time.
Yep, yep. There's the man that got me in all my trouble. Me and him got in more trouble. But no, I know I'll tell bull. But we had a lot of fun. We I did things that I'm not proud of. I'm not proud of any of that stuff. But I lived a fast life. Like I said, I loved that bar life. And you know, eventually, you do it long enough, and you go through your friends. You drink long enough. They'll get married, and believe me, their wife don't want you around. Um, and that was happening. And then you get liquored up. You say things you shouldn't say, and you piss them off. And hell, you don't even remember what you did. I've done that stuff. And you know, one thing leads to another, and eventually, all your buddies are either mad at you or married. And I don't know. I was about 26, and I got tired of it. I guess I don't know. I didn't get tired of drinking, but I decided I maybe ought to get married and start a family, and that's what I did. And I went clear over Winchester, Indiana. I didn't have much luck around here. A lot of them knew me. But this lady didn't know nothing about me, and she had 2 children, and me and her had 2 children on her own. And drinking and marriage don't work. That's why we're in here, a lot of us. And I never slowed down on my drinking. And I told her when we got married, 3 things you don't mess with, and she didn't really. I told her, I said, it's my drinking. Naturally, that was my first thing I mentioned. And I love fishing and hunting, and I love football. Don't mess with football. And I watch football all the time. Anyway, and she didn't for 10 years. And like I said, we had 2 children of our own. And it was okay for a while. She used to drink and party with me. And this is a progressive disease, and it never gets better. And if you're an alcoholic, see, and then that's another thing. She was married before, and she was married to an alcoholic. So she felt normal where she was at. That's what they say. Poor girl. And so then the drinking and the partying, we partied at home. We went to bars, and the drinking. And eventually she was watching me drinking myself to death. And she didn't work the first 10 years, and I worked around the clock. And so I used to help a farmer that had 10,000 acres, and this was before they did no-tilling, and so it'd take 2-3 months to plant everything, 2-3 months to take everything off. So I was in the fields a lot, and I had a factory job, and I was working around the clock, and then I had livestock at home. And so I stayed real busy. Okay, I stayed real busy. So I worked hard. I'm gonna play hard. And that's exactly how I looked at it. And you wasn't gonna tell me that I couldn't drink. Nobody was. Nobody. And that's how I felt. And and she was watching me do what I was doing to myself and was watching me drink myself to death, and she was in a dilemma. And, one thing led to another. And I put, and I'm putting it mildly, but I put that family through hell. There'd be times, I'll sit here and tell you how hard I worked, and there'd be times, we'd be short of money, but you always protected your supply. You always made sure you had money for your booze. And one little instance, I'd say, let's just say we need a gallon of milk. I'd only buy a half a gallon of milk and a 12 pack of beer. I didn't need that beer, but I thought I did, And and then I'd justify that, you know. Not saying that's right, but that's how it was. And then we'd end up fighting over things, and one thing led to another, and the fighting would start in, and then she'd move out, and then she'd move back in, and she'd move out, and she'd move back in. This went on a lot, and that ain't no good. And but being an alcoholic, I've learned that we'll push it to the limit, and that's exactly what I was doing. And I, just went on, until eventually she'd went to talk to these people, and they was from Al-Anon. Al-Anon. I thought, who the hell was Al-Anon? I didn't know who these people were, and I was ready to go find out who they was, but I didn't know where to go, and I didn't know where to look, you know. And and they told her, she come out in the bar and I was out there working, and she told me about it, and I thought, now who are, and she wouldn't tell me or nothing. Anyway, she said, they told me to leave you. I thought, here we go again. And anyway, and she worked on me and she worked on me, and she wanted me to go get treatment, go to treatment, go get help. I thought, no, it want nothing to do with that, And I can remember one part there where I thought, okay, I'll quit. I'll quit drinking. I'll see how this works. So, Mom, I told you we was raised German Catholic, and I've never had an issue with God or believing in God. So I knowed to ask for help to quit drinking, because I knowed I couldn't quit on my own. And I can remember for 2 weeks I didn't drink. And oh my God, I'll never forget that feeling. Well, that's that dry drunk deal. And I'd sooner drink. I'd sooner drink. I don't never want to go through that again. And because, well, she took my best friend away. Well, then after the 2 weeks was up, I talked to her. We're cons, and I said, hey, I got this thing under control. Hell, I didn't know nothing about it, and so it wasn't. And so she went along with it, and I was right back where I was within, I don't know how many days, I can't, but it wasn't very many days. I was right back where I was. And I was at the point where I was drinking every day, and what we'd do at dinner time, we'd go get a 6-pack of beer and drink 2 or 3, 4 of them or whatever, and go back in, and then I'd stop at the bar when we got off work, and we'd drink in too, till you feel pretty good, and then you go home and bring a 12-pack home with you and finish the job. And no, I didn't do that when I was farming after work, but so I got to the point where I would bring it with me on the tractor there at the end. My brother, he caught what was going on. I about got in trouble over that one. But none of that stuff I'm proud of. But I just had it with me all the time, and I drank constantly. And she just went on about it. And I got to that one point where I knew, and they call it the jumping off point. And I remember that distinctly, because I knew I couldn't quit. Because I tried to quit there for 2 weeks, and I knew I couldn't quit. And I thought, I'm doomed. Really, that's how I felt. And I can remember I sat outside. This was on my farm, and I just started crying. I knew a little bit about AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, but hell, that's when we made fun of them in the bars. I didn't know anything about like what we do here, and I thought I was doomed. I thought I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to stay quit. And I just thought, hell, my life's over as I know it. And little did I know what was about to come. But I'm telling you, I fought this tooth and nail. Like I said, I didn't. You wasn't going to tell me to quit drinking. I was going to do as I pleased. I couldn't see living without drinking. It's stupid thinking when I look back on it now. I thought, how am I going to sleep at night? How am I going to have any fun? I just couldn't understand my life without alcohol, because I'd lived that way since I was 16 years old. So like 18 years of drinking. Some people go a hell of a lot longer. Some don't make it that long. I don't know. But I knowed I wasn't ready. But she just would not let go. She would not quit. And I thought, oh my golly. So she packed everything finally. Like I said, I know she left and come back probably 6 or 7 times. And then this last time I knowed she meant it, because she took just about everything that was in the house that wasn't paid for. And because that's what I told her. And I thought, oh shit, she means business. And so she took the kids and left again. But it bothered me, and it didn't. It just gave me more time to drink. And boy, did I. And but I still went to work. But I'll be darned if she knew what I did at dinner. So she'd be out in the parking lot at dinner and waiting on me. And she'd say, go get help. I said, you come home. Well, she wasn't going to come home. She's going to do what Al-Anon said, And I just stuck to she stuck to her guns, and I didn't mind. Then come Friday, there she was again. She said, you want to come over and have supper with the family? And I thought, well, yeah, okay. Because I hadn't seen them for a week, and hadn't ate very good for a week. You don't eat much when you drink all the time. But, I went in there, and that was really, really hard pill to swallow. Went in there, and it was, this time of year, and it was in the summer or winter time there. My 2 daughters were 5 and 7, somewhere in that age, these young girls. And I went in there, and her mom and dad was remodeling the house. It was a house with big, tall ceilings. The heating system wasn't working very good. They had kerosene in there. They was living out of coolers, because the refrigerator wasn't paid for at that time. I don't remember why. I was in a what do you call a daze at that time, fog, and I don't remember all of it. I remember the important stuff. And I just that tore me up big time when I seen all that. And I caused all that. And even though you know, I was, with the way I was and the way I drank and partied and, you know, but I still cared. That was my job to take care of that family. And that tore me up because they was happy and I was miserable, you know. I couldn't understand that part. I do today. The asshole wasn't there, the drunk. And so we spent the weekend together, and she had a guy come over that I knew real well, and he'd sobered up. He did like what you call a 12-step call on me, you know, and she went on and wanted me to go get help. Still wouldn't have nothing to do with it. To me, I looked at it like going to jail, and I'd been to jail, and I didn't like jail, and I didn't want no part of jail, and I wasn't going into no treatment center for 28 days. I had good insurance. They was paying, you know, everything. You know, she'd checked out everything, but I wasn't going to have no part of it. And anyway, and I went. Then that, you know, Sunday Sunday evening, and I just left. But I had to get that last drunk in. And I ran into a guy that was up Wagon Wheel there in Burgettsville, and he'd lost his family, and well, he ain't in the program no more today. I talked to him here a while back. He's a good friend of mine. Says he went back out. I don't understand it, but that happens. But anyway, he'd sobered up, but he'd lost his family. And I was telling him about how mean she was and what she was trying to do to me. You know, we don't speak very highly of them. And we was pretty good buds. And he looks at me and he lays into me. And he says, "You're going to end up like me. You get your butt back there." And you know, I'm sure that's what I needed to hear, and maybe that's what I wanted to hear. I don't know. And you know, this was tearing me up. And my family, you know, believe it or not, even though I was a drunk and the way I acted and what things I'd done, I still cared about my family deeply. I still do. And it's just once that alcohol takes a hold, boy, you do things you wouldn't, normal people don't do, you know. I'm an alcoholic. I destroy everything I touch. And that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. You know, and all I worried about was that next buzz, that next high. And, you know, so I did what she said. I come back there. And I drove all the way back to Winchester, and I had a pretty good buzz once when I didn't get it for DWI then. I said, okay, I'm ready to go, get some help. And I'll never forget my 5-year-old daughter said, "Daddy's ready to get help." I'll never forget that. And my wife had that number memorized to that treatment center. So she got me in as quick as she could, but it was like 3 days, and that was 3 days of thinking about going in there, you know, and I did not want to go, but I said I would. And, you know, I went in, you know, some people can come into these meetings and get sober. I don't know. God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. Maybe he knowed I needed to be put away for 30 days, I've heard Gary say. And he's probably right. He's probably right. And, you know, I went in there and then I was worried about losing my friends. Well, I looked into it and I didn't understand it at the time. But the counselor told me, he goes, well, he says, I found out one thing. We no longer have anything in common no more. You know, and I'm worried about losing my friends, and I don't understand what the hell he's talking about, you know. And I thought, is that right? You know, but I do today. I care not to be around if the guy's pretty well liquored up. I choose not to be around that no more. But they're still my friends, but once you quit drinking, I think you're a threat. They think you're a threat to them or something, and it just ain't, for me anyway, just not the There's only a couple of them that come around anymore. But that was weird. I was worried about that more than anything. But I went in there for all the wrong reasons. I didn't go in there to get sober. That was not in my mind. Tell you the truth, I just went in there. I've heard this said many times, to get that monkey off my back. I guess that's what I did too. I just know that my life was a mess, and I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. So I just went in there, and I'm be honest with you, I don't mean this personally, any of you. I didn't care for any of you at all. I didn't like you people. I didn't want to hear your problems. I didn't want to hear any of that stuff. I don't mean that personally, but that's how I felt at that time. But then, the longer you're in there, you get to know each other and realize, I don't know, maybe sober up. I don't know. You learn to love them people and understand that that's the program. They planted the seed and the program started to work, let's say. And they took me to meetings in there. And I can remember to the first meeting I went to, and you can believe this or not, I seen it. I seen exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know what it was, and I seen it in their eyes, and I didn't understand it. I didn't understand any of this stuff, but I knowed my life was a mess, and I had to do something, and I knowed if I didn't sober up, I wasn't going to have the family no more. And so I seen a lot of guys getting out of there, and I thought, well, maybe they give you homework to do and stuff. Well, maybe they're doing such a good job, they're just letting them out there. No, it wasn't that. And that made me work harder on stuff they wanted me to do. What the deal was, they didn't have no insurance and they wasn't going to get paid, and they throwed them out. I had a good insurance. I wasn't going nowhere. But that's okay. That's okay. And I went in. It's very educational, and you showed me proof, you'll get my attention. And when I went in there and they did the class on alcoholism, they got my attention. They had me down to a T. How I acted, how I treated people, how I protected my supply, how I thought about drinking all the time, how I was at work, and how I thought about going and drinking after work, where I was going. They knew me down to a T. I thought, if they know me that well, there's something to this thing, And they got my attention. I will say that. And then there's a guy in there. And I've said this before, but I really believe that's part of the reason why my thinking changed. I don't know, but he would go into convulsions, and convulsions next to death, and that's your body telling you don't want no more alcohol. But he didn't think he needed to quit drinking. Now, see, I thought he needed to quit drinking. I could read his inventory. I couldn't look at me. And another guy, he was a crack. He was worked at a crack house, and he was like stood guard at the crack house with a pistol. And he was pretty cool. And the counselor would try and tell him that normal people don't do stuff like that. But he couldn't get it through this guy's head. But I could see that. I thought, if I did that, I think I'd quit too, But see, I couldn't look at me. I couldn't see me. I couldn't see all the damage that I was doing. And I couldn't see the reason why I should quit. See, you was taken away from me, not you, my wife, my family, was taken away from me something that I thought I dearly needed, and I couldn't do without. And I thought, I can't live my life without, and I can sit here. You hear some people, I've heard people that see it. I can't sit here and tell you why that I decided to quit, but I think I know some of it. It's, you heard me say I really love my family, and you guys have heard me talk about my grandchildren, and I get really emotional. I can't help it. But the one is my oldest daughter. They on Sundays they'd let them come down. A lot of you've heard this story, but I really that really got me. And and I didn't know this stuff come down. And well, actually, I probably wouldn't have cared, to be honest with you. And that was some of it. I just didn't care what people thought. Uh, but the counselor these guys are experts. They know right where to go. And they had my daughter explain about why she couldn't have no friends over. And she said, I told Mom that I'll look out the kitchen window, and if Dad gets out of the car, and if he's in a good mood, I'll leave my friend. Stay downstairs. We had an upstairs. And if he's in a bad mood, I'll go upstairs. And see, I didn't know this was going on. I didn't realize I was doing that to my 7-year-old daughter. And boy, that was a hard pill to swallow, buddy. And I made a deep sigh, and the counselor said, "What's?" I said, "I've had enough of this shit." And nothing more was said, and I had, I had to sort that out, And I had to decide, and I did. I decided that I better go through with this thing, And I had no clue what to do. All I know is they let me out, and we go to meetings. My wife actually one time come down there, clear down to Dayton, and took me to a meeting in Greenville, and that was a good deal. Met some good guys there. I didn't know anything about what's going on in here. I'd come in and well, we was at a meeting in New Bremen, and that one guy, I don't know if you was there or not. No, you wasn't. And he said he'd come in there and he didn't understand none of this. And that's the same. I thought that's the same way I was. I didn't understand any of this stuff in here. I didn't know what anybody was talking about. It was all Greek to me. And you got to be careful what you bring up around the old timers when you first come in here, because they'll lay into you. I remember one time I said, "Can we go into a bar?" No, don't ask a bunch of old timers if you can go into a bar and you've only been sober for a week. Oh, but I learned, and I remember the last day we was leaving that treatment center, and I had a pretty decent counselor. I liked her, and I looked at her, and I said, but you don't understand. It's not like this out there. I said, this is a protected environment. And I said, it's not like this out there. And she looked at me and she said, yes, it is. She said, this is an inside job. And there again, inside job, what are you talking about? See, I know I understand today what she's talking about. And it is. And I hit the ground running. I did what they told me to. I went to meetings. And I always heard, and I believe it, meeting makers make it. And they tell you so many meetings and so many, I didn't pay no attention. I know I went to a meeting every day for a good year, easy. And I just kept going to meetings, kept going. When I first got out, I went to Greenville. And I just never really, I just wasn't getting anything out of it. And Mike, this guy that I was talking about that told me to get my butt back to the wife, he said, go up north there. He said, they got pretty good AA up there. And so I went into Coldwater, down in the basement, church basement. It was over there. And Gary T was there. I think Gary's the only one that's still around. There's still some. Tom was here. And, me and Gary's been to a lot of meetings. We've been to prisons, we go to conventions, we go all over the place. And they told me, hey, I ask you to do something, you do it. This is not one thing I like to do, but I will do it. If I can say one thing that helps one person out there, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. But this thing, you know, I was telling you about that. I was thinking about that today, and that I was telling you about that 7-year-old daughter, and we you know, I sobered up, and I was going to meetings, and you know, you're not perfect. Well, hell, nobody's perfect. No, I mean, but I still got a long way to go. But I mean, I was working on myself, but you're still going to have the isms ain't all gone at first, and hell, they come back all the time. But I had Gene Yance was my sponsor at that time, and that little 7-year-old girl still hated my guts, you know. And I had a hard time dealing with that. You see, you can't make someone love you. And see, I couldn't comprehend that. And I talked to Gene about it. He said, you just keep walking through that door sober. And by God, it works. Here about earlier this spring, I just want to tell you about her. She's 45 years old now. And she's going through some problems. And she called me up. It was in the spring of the year. She said, Dad, I need your help. You know, that's what a dad wants to hear. At least I do. I want to help my children. And I'm the same way with my grandkids. But she was going to get her divorce. Well, she did get her divorce. And so she's letting me help her. That's pretty cool. You know. That's why, one of the reasons why I sobered up. I looked back on that today. Thank God. Thank God I did. Thank God I'm there for her. You know. And it's hard. They was married 19 years. You know, he's just like he's my son-in-law. He's like my son. We went fishing and hunting together all the time. I stay out of the middle of it, you know. And but when she, you know, splits up like that, and then she's on her own, makes me feel good when she asks Dad for help. Really makes me feel good. I owe that to you guys. I really do. I was thinking about that. You know, without AA, a lot of things that goes on today wouldn't be happening. And I really enjoy my grandkids, my grandsons. We go fishing together. We go hunting together. So that's the stuff I like to do. I don't like to go shopping and stuff like that. But that's for women. That's for women. But I love doing stuff with my grandsons. We talk football and we have a good time. And that, you know, if I wouldn't have quit drinking, I wouldn't have had any of this stuff. You know, that's a treat. That's what I live for. I'm done.
Thank you, Lil. Good message. We'll open it up. Anybody wants to make a comment?
My name's Tom Alcoholic.
Tom.
Ken, that's one of the best things I got in this program was my family back. You know, when I was down in Florida, and everything went to hell down there, and I thought they turned their back on me. But I went into treatment, and things got better, and now I'm back in with my family. The best thing that ever happened. I'm so glad I got sober. That's all.
Hey, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Paul, I'm an alcoholic.
Paul.
Congratulations, buddy, on 36 years old for it. Nice out, buddy. I know that I relate so much with everything you said. I heard your report, but I was just thinking, you made me think my daughter, you know, she's called me up now, and it's nice being there and being able to help whatever she needs, you know, find anything she needs. I'm there. It's every day, stay sober one day at a time, and I can help her all the time. Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I didn't know last time an alcoholic
Hey, well,
with a stuffy nose. Thanks, Leo. But there's first story made me think of was, I have this streaming service, you know, and I listen to it in the car and at home, and it puts together playlists for me based on things that I've listened to and they think I would like. Yeah, so they served up this morning a Peter Gabriel song covered by Willie Nelson called "Don't Give Up." And it tells a horrible story about how bad it got, and then the woman comes on and says, "Don't give up. You got us. Don't give up. You got friends. Don't give up. We like who you are." And well, that pretty well thank you.
Kevin, I'll call.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leo. Congratulations on that 36 years. You know, I've heard you many times. I've known you a long time.
Yes.
And yeah, and one of the things that always comes to my mind, and we was across the parking lot there, and I was struggling to get sober. I was in and out for a long time, and you know, I think at that point in time in my life, alcohol was just oozing out of my pores. You know, I was just walking through and I smelled alcohol. And yeah, and I remember you and Bill Travell were sitting there, and you looked at me and told me, you said, you know, if you live long enough, you might get this. And I tell you what, I didn't like you. I didn't like you, you know. But, you know, evidently I lived long enough, I got it, and, you know, and I'm very grateful for the people that told me what I needed to hear when I needed to hear it, you know. And that's what, you know, that's what happens in here. And, you know, that not liking you, once I got sober, I didn't last that long, you know. And, you know, I look at you as one of my very best friends today, you know. And that's just part of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm glad that I'm here. So thanks for being my friend. Thanks for a good lead.
Hey, hello.
Thanks, Kev, for being my friend, Kev.
Joni, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Joni.
Thanks, Leo. I heard something today and it reminded me of a lot of what you're saying. So even today for me to ask for help goes against my will. But it's something I will do today. But I heard asking for help doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're not giving up. And if, you know, if we could just see it that way, because there's so many people out there still suffering, and it's a young lady I really love that just, oh boy, and she just can't ask for help. She thinks I'm not being responsible. Gotta be responsible. And I keep thinking, I know what I was like when I was drinking. There was no responsibility going on there. So yeah, being responsible is asking for help today for me. So thanks for reminding me of that.
Hey, Joni.
Steve, alcoholic.
Steve.
Oh, good lead. Heard you before, known you a while, quite a while. What part I got out of it that I remember you saying was that liquor supply, because during my drinking days, in my apartment when I was, the last year that I had about, oh my God, I had 2 cases of beer, 4 bottles of booze. I think I had a bottle of Jack, a bottle of gin, and whatever else. And I mean, I was like, but yet, you know what the insanity of it was? The insanity of it was, even though I had all that in my apartment off post, I still went up on post and drank. Now that's insanity. I remember that. And I also remember the day I took all that beer and all that alcohol and I dumped it down the drain. Never again did I pick it up. And that was the start of what it was. to realize one thing, that where pride, it's, to ask for help, it's like pride, you know, you're stubborn, you're prideful, you say, well, I don't need it, I can get it on my own. No. You have to want help, you have to want it, you have to and ask for it, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing, even in the Bible it says, if you need help, ask God, He'll help you in prayer or what. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know. You know. That's it. That's all I've got, thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I'm Brad, I'm off.
Hey, Brad.
Congratulations, Leo, 36 years, wow, that's a hell of a long time. Wow. You sit up there and you told a part of my story when you were up there, you know, about childhood, and it was your mom, it was my dad, a little bit different there, but I could relate so much to your story about this, you know, supply, half gallons of milk instead of gallons, and the next day, everything that you talked about. It was a great lead. Every time I hear you, I've heard you several times too, it's unbelievable. Like you said, we go to those meetings and stuff, and I'm glad you let me tag along. I don't know, it's always a lot of fun, and I learn something every time we go somewhere, and just thank you for being my friend, Leo.
Thanks for being mine. Yeah, thanks. We do have a good time.
Greg Alcoholic.
Hey, Greg.
Well, I finally got to hear you, Leo. It's well worth the wait. I'll tell you the truth when everybody else is gone.
Okay.
If I had $1 for every time I walked, you'd be talking about nobody's gonna stop me from drinking. Boy, I felt like that. And if I had $1 for every time I walked out of the house and said, it's my goddamn life, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. And nobody deserved that. You know? So, I'm like you, I'm very grateful and blessed that I found AA. You don't have to live that way anymore. That's all. Congratulations.
Chrissy, alcoholic.
Hey, Chrissy.
Congratulations on your 36. So I could relate to quite a few places in your story where you could see it in everybody else, but you just couldn't see it in yourself. And I was like that. I could justify so many of my actions until I couldn't anymore. And then how you talked about, you know, you to long for them relationships, and I told you just keep coming through that door sober. And I found that to be true in my life today with, you know, family members, my son. And so, yeah, very good lead. I related to it. Thank you.
Hey, Dwayne.
Leo, thanks for your lead. It was a good one. Not the first time I heard you, but good message once again. And I also like tagging along with you guys once in a while when you're going places. Have a lot of fun. That's one thing, this program, you can do that. Go somewhere and have a lot of fun, not even have to drink a drop of alcohol. And have a good fellowship, you know. And there's a lot of good people in these rooms. And you just gotta stick around and see yourself in the program. Not, you know, not judge and stuff like that. Just accept it, and life gets a lot better. So, thanks for leading. You're welcome.
I'm Gary, I'm an alcoholic. Congratulations on your 36 years, Leo. And I always say an inch this way, an inch that way, we'd have missed this. You know, through the grace of God, we're sober today. Nothing that we did. We just drank. That's, you know. All right, we'll close the meeting with our Father.
That's what I'm putting down my arm.
And then what did you do?
Oh, I just took right away.
Your hands are warm.
They're gonna break the chain.
Bill?
Who keeps us sober?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen.
Keep coming back, work it, long as you
There,
know.
Tom, here's your thing.
Oh, yeah, thank
Now
you.
let these people.
And then you ever heard of Continental Grain?
Yeah.
It goes right by there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I gotta record you tonight?
Huh?
Can I record you tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg. Greg, how you doing?
Pretty good, how you
Good to
doing?
see you.
Hey, Greg.
You look like
Charlie?
you're dressed up like a snowman.
Cold.
Hey, you like egg rolls?
Huh?
You like egg rolls?
No.
Okay.
Thank
Nobody
you.
does, you're
Don't
welcome.
do that, it'll be sick.
You're the only guy that likes egg rolls.
I'm the only one there. I don't really like these egg rolls.
Been all bundled up, gloves, hat, fanny pack.
Why the hell did you got it on?
Just come from outside, went down a bunch of.
I'll get it on.
You didn't
How
even
you doing? Good.
Good to see you.
Hi, buddy.
Like egg rolls?
Do you
Now
drive
you
with
look
that?
a little better than the last time I
Yeah,
seen you, not that much. Getting along all right?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want none. I just said you like.
Hey, Paulie, how you doing?
What's up, it's Brad?
How we doing?
Good, buddy. Hi, I'm Paul.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
How you doing,
I'm
buddy?
Leo. Good to see you.
Hey, wild man.
Why don't you
How
have
you
this
doing?
on the
Hey,
I'm gonna get it on.
Why didn't you have it on
Good,
the
buddy.
car?
I am hitting breath to argue with your ass right
Yeah,
now.
get it on.
Grandkids playing ball.
Turn that son-of-bitch up, there's gonna be some marks.
That's fun.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to drive with it?
After a while, I don't make them all.
No.
I make once
If it
again.
wasn't
He plays
cold
ball
now,
every Friday night. He's
you know, when
playing
it was
down
warm those couple
in
days,
Dixie tonight. He's a
Like,
freshman
I
now.
didn't
He's
need
playing varsity.
Hell, yeah.
but the
But
heat, I
It
mean,
ain't because he's better than
Cold.
anybody else. Because
Buy when it gets hotter than all this summer.
Well, Jerry
they got five
says
freshmen.
30,
They doing pretty good?
below 30, above 8.
No, I don't think they'll
Yeah,
win.
you can't live a life like that.
You know what you ought to do? You ought to
Get
try going out to
experience.
Arizona, see if you like it.
Is that
He does all right, you know. I mean, he don't look that terrible against seniors. I mean, yeah, they're gonna beat him. You know.
Right.
Boy plays better beat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be better.
Glad to see you, Leo.
I mean,
Good to see you too, Paul.
I've had allergies.
How's Thanksgiving? Good Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I don't get off on that shit. I do too. I do
Don't
too.
you?
I do. That's
Really?
what me and my wife fought the most.
Desi loves you.
And so is my wife. It don't matter what kind of fucking cost.
Well, no, they don't
Yeah.
have-
Whether you
I
do
do
it or not. That's right.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Hey,
Girl Scout.
Dinner next week.
I don't know.
hey, don't pass the basket around. Wait till,
Cookie day.
pass it around the rest of the way.
Army
You moved
Navy
into a
game
room.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one at Walmart.
Going
Big.
broke.
Have you good games?
It's a little bit more crowded.
Let 'em
Yeah.
Army's
It does,
Army's
yeah.
good.
Army's good this year.
Yeah.
go. Just let mom have her fun.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
nice.
didn't know-
I got to see my dad. My dad came out.
I'm gonna buy you a new bill.
Glad
I
he's
don't
still
need a
alive.
new wallet.
Yeah.
I got two of them. Oh, you don't like that?
Me too.
That's nice.
You don't sit, you don't put that in your back pocket, do
Hey
you?
Charlie, look at Steve's new
I'll tell you
billfold.
what,
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's a
I
nice
kept
one.
getting
I'm
these
gonna buy that
text
back.
messages.
I
See
don't.
Steve's new billfold?
You got a new bill
Yeah,
phone?
that's a brand new one.
I'm gonna buy him one for Christmas.
No, I'm doing that, and I'm getting him a roller.
Well, there
deck
you
to
go.
go
You have to get one that can hold a lot of money, Greg.
Maybe Kelly,
Right, don't get them
No,
little billfolds.
cleaning that
maybe
shit.
Kelly give him a new one.
Oh.
Tell you what,
Kelly.
hey. You like, what are these called?
Egg rolls.
Egg rolls. You like egg rolls? You don't eat anything.
If
See?
you want 'em, you can just throw them away. I don't even want them. They're still warm.
I tell you. Guess I'll eat them.
Thank you. They were for
Yeah,
court.
I do eat eggs.
Richard was
get new glasses?
How's Ricky
I-
doing?
You get new glasses?
Alright,
No, those are just my
talk to this.
ones I wear on the weekends usually.
Talk to
Oh,
him.
weekend glasses?
You got weekend and weekdays glasses?
I'll tell you what,
These are my father's glasses, by the way, so that's why I wear them on the weekends.
Well,
Okay?
that's nice.
As I said, did you get some of Rick Myers' money before I did?
Little testy there.
No, I don't get any Burt Myers money.
well, I'll
thought
tell
you
you
were in
what,
that.
He cut me out of the will.
Oh, he cut you out. I'm
Yep.
still in as far as
He
I
said,
know.
fuck you, you left molars, you're out.
you,
That's why he keeps trying to talk me into going to molars, because he's got too much to give to Brad now.
you're in there?
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Holy
Why
shit.
can't you read it?
As long as I can outlive him.
Oh, for Christ's sake, that's about the fifth word excuse
Well,
I've heard.
Why can't he?
I can't pronounce one of them words.
Anemone, guys.
Well, Marcus couldn't do that for years either.
Took me 2 years.
Now he wants to have sex with me.
We finally got her. Well, you got your barn door open.
Oh, no, I seen that, I just felt that. I better close that.
Felt a little breeze, did you?
But you hear,
This is a men's meeting tonight, the way it looks, so we're okay.
you hear Kelly's coming over or what?
Who?
Kelly?
Oh, that's for Steve.
Oh.
I don't like you handling it.
How you doing, buddy?
Boy, that
Deal with
big
these
door,
things here.
wouldn't it?
Why the hell don't you want them?
Hello, Kevin.
Oh, I don't
How you
want
doing,
to.
bud?
She's a sick puppy.
What the hell's this stuff?
I what?
How you doing, buddy?
Am I allowed to eat in your meeting, Gary?
Hi, Colin. Hey, good to see you,
Yeah, Kelly does.
Yeah, Kelly eats everybody's meeting.
She hasn't changed any?
She hasn't changed any?
Don't let any bad habits rub off on you now there, Kevin.
Here, Kevin, can you read this? There's a word in there I can't pronounce, and there's a word he can't pronounce, so let's get passed on down the road.
See, from now on, when we take them into AA, we gotta start them in the 4th grade so they know how to read.
I had no idea, Steve. Going to the restroom, they could spray some paper towels in there.
Yeah, you got some the other week when you spilled your coffee.
Use that as a Christmas ornament. What? That bell you made for me.
Oh, got paper towels.
That's pretty
neat.
Paper towels.
We don't have no Christmas trees.
You don't?
No.
You got any lights on the outside of your house?
No.
Well, do you know it's Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to give her a bunch of goddamn money.
I worked down there at the hardware store. My wife was still alive. We've had this old tree for I can't tell you how long. Well, we got this great big display, big as this room of trees. I found this one I liked. No. I got it. No. She passed away, and the first Christmas, I went down there and bought it.
Did you throw that other one away?
Well, no. I'm gonna sell it.
Oh.
I'm gonna give it to Leo now.
I don't want no goddamn tree.
Now, I'm telling you.
I'll take it down there with you and we'll set it up on the front porch.
Yeah,
I've already got one sitting on my front porch.
Oh.
I wanted that tree, and it was the prettiest tree. And I'm gonna tell you that
How you doing?
I'm good, buddy.
it's got
Sheep.
flock on it.
Tennessee.
Oh,
I want it.
yeah, that leaks all over the
Say
place.
yeah.
Holy Jesus,
Yeah.
there'll be glitter in that house till June.
Yeah.
They'll be,
You gonna be home tomorrow, Leo?
We're going down to Louisville.
I'm at tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, come down and shoot a deer out of your kitchen window.
Dave's got
Well,
a.
I did, but about last 2 days, but they ain't been that close.
How far was that?
That was just in my backyard, 20 yards,
Yeah.
if that, 5 yards.
Yeah.
You use a bow?
I can.
He sent me a video this week, he had deer in his backyard, like fucking 20 yards.
10 of them,
Yeah.
they're staying in the woods.
There wasn't any butt, so it
Hey,
wasn't.
Tony, how you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Hey.
Oh, he probably would've been back behind if there wasn't.
You got doe, you got bucks.
Good.
Yeah.
I would say they were all running. Tony had her like that. They were nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Hey, go to the bathroom, give me some napkins.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey.
Hey, I'm gonna throw these away, I don't know.
That's always neat when you see that here.
I hadn't seen them out there
were hot
Oh.
a long time ago.
Right there out the back of my house.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it ain't, that's neat.
I'll
You know,
take it home with you.
yesterday, Gordon.
Shut up, will ya?
Staying warmer than we are, that's for
Went
sure.
around, walked around the edge of the house. He took off out of there just barking, raising hell.
Hey, Chrissy.
How are ya?
You see, right off the bat, I thought he just happened to see the rabbit or a cat or something out there.
How are you?
Folks are around town tonight.
Yeah, get wild.
I read your license. Never come to a
Sorry,
party.
good.
Actually, this is exciting.
I dropped some 4-pound rock gold on it.
Well, he got almost
It's
up.
exciting now.
Oh,
Becoming west. We did everything.
Oh, man, they're-
Yeah, you did. Listen, if it got up there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't sit by me if you're sick, man.
I'm not going to.
I
I got that, I got told off once before.
Yep.
Sit over there by Joe.
Good to see you. And,
He was in,
Gotta make sure that they eat right.
he's 84 years old.
yeah, real
He's
well.
done some
And
delegating to something, Alvina's 80th anniversary of the band being closed. How's Richard doing?
This wood, my wood's in between.
Beaner did? Beaner did?
Brad was supposed to pick it up tonight, didn't pick it up.
Tony,
How are you?
good.
Good.
What are you sitting over there for? You never called me.
Eureka.
Away from you, Greg, as far as I can.
Yeah, that won't stop me.
I know,
I got air.
I know. Never has.
Nick West?
I'm Gary, but alcoholic.
Gary.
I'd like to welcome everyone here to the K Coldwater Friday Night Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. Those who wish to open the meeting with serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for any membership. You are self-supporting through your own contributions. It is not allowed with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. All right. This is a K Coldwater Friday Night Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. We are a lead meeting with all who, all right, here at K Coldwater Friday Night, we encourage sponsorship and getting a home group. If you're interested in getting a home group or a sponsor, see a home group member after this meeting. Will all home group members raise their hands? All right, I read the preamble. I've asked my friend Tom to read out the words.
Tell him I'm not high.
Tom.
That's how it works. Rarely we've seen a person fail who has thoroughly fought her path. Those who do not recover, people cannot or will not completely get themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally capable of on themselves. They are such a fortune, it's not a fault. They seem to be born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands their honest. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional mental disorder, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. When you decide you want what we have and are willing and they can get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. And some of these we balked. We thought we could find easier, softer ways, but we could not. We thought in earnestness or command, we beg you to be fearless and thorough at the very start. Some of us try to hold on to what I needed, and the result was nil until I go absolute. When we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without helping is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Find him now. How familiar the veil is nothing. We stood the turning point. We asked his protection, care, and complete abandonment. Here are the steps we took, which suggested a program of recovery. we admitted we were positive over alcohol, our lives had become a manual. 2, came to believe that our power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understood it. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted God to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our own. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, probably admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, bring only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to our lives and practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaim, Lord, Lord, I can't go through it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us is able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We're not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles they have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter 2 Gnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could relieve our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he sought.
Thank you, Tom. That's my friend Paul to read the traditions.
I'm Paul, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Paul.
12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. Number 1, our common one person come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, the living God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has one primary purpose, to carry his message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest profits of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting without any outside contribution. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principle before personality.
Thank you, Paul. I've asked Kevin to read the promises.
Kevin, I'm an alcoholic.
Kevin.
Promises. Spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. Unless one's family expresses a desire to live upon spiritual, we think we ought not urge them. We should not talk incessantly to them about spiritual matters. They will change in time. Our behavior will convince them more than our words. We must remember that 10 or 20 years of drunkenness would make a skeptic out of anyone. There may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we would right them if we could. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter. And there may be a valid reason for postponement in some cases, but we don't delay if it can be avoided. We should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble without being servile or critical. As God's people, we stand on our feet. We don't crawl before anyone. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we're halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace no matter how far down the scale we have gone. We will will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook toward life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises?
Not.
They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you, Kevin. I've asked Steve to read the reflections.
I'm Steve, alcoholic.
Thanks, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, everybody. December 13th. Excuse me. Thinking of others. Our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend upon our constant thought of others and how we will help meet their needs. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 20. Thinking of others has never come easily to me, even when I try to work the AA program. I'm prone to thinking, how do I feel today? Am I happy, joyous, and free? The program tells me that my thoughts must reach out to those around me. Would that newcomer welcome someone to talk to? That person looks a little unhappy today. Maybe I could cheer him up. It is only when I forget my problems and reach out to contribute something to others that I begin to attain the serenity and consciousness I seek. Thanks.
Hey, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Ask Greg to read the 24-hour book.
Good evening, my name's Greg and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Greg.
December 13th, AA thought for the day. We come now to AA fellowship. It is partly group therapy. It is partly spiritual fellowship. And it is the inner. It is based on a common illness, a common failure, a common problem. It goes deep down into our personal lives and our personal needs. It requires full opening up to each other of our innermost thoughts and most secret problems. All barriers between us are swept aside. They have to be. Then we try to help each other to get well. The AA fellowship is based on a sincere desire to help the other person. In AA, we can be sure of sympathy, understanding, and real help. These things make the AA fellowship the best that we know. Do I fully appreciate the depth of the AA fellowship? Meditation for the day. The higher power can guide us to the right decisions if we pray about them. We can believe that many details of our lives are planned by God and planned with a wealth of forgiving love for the mistakes we have made. We can pray today to be sure that the right way. We can choose to be shown the right way. We can choose the good, and when we choose it, we can feel that good. And when we choose it, we can feel that the whole power of the universe is behind us. We can achieve a real harmony with God's purpose for our lives. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may choose the right today. I pray that I may be shown the right way to live today.
Hey, Greg. Here in the Coldwater, we had the token system. I've asked my friend Brad to give out tokens.
Hi everybody, I'm Brad. I'm an
Hey,
alcoholic.
Brad.
Here at Coldwater Friday night, we have the token system. When we start these tokens, like this suggested, we'll work our program 24 hours at a time. Is there anybody here for their first meeting or their first meeting since their last meeting? Or it's just starting out that needs a 24-hour token? 1 to 3 months? 4 to 7? to 9. 9 to a year. We do have an 18-month token. 1 to 10 years. 11 to 20. 20 to 35. Any years thereafter?
Yeah, you know, I need to finish it.
Does anybody have any time they want to recognize? We all have today. Give yourself and your higher power.
All right, the only announcement I have, well, one thing, we got new schedules here. There's some over there if your group needs some. You have to pick them up and you just have to fold them up through thing. And we got an A meeting in the pocket here. It's nice for newcomers or even new people who've been in the program. All right, the only announcement I have is the annual Sydney A sausage and sauerkraut dinner, December the 17th. Fellowship's at 6. Dinner's at 6:30. Lead speaker will be at 7:30. That's Steve from Cincinnati, located at Sydney Methodist Church, 230 East Poplar Street, Sydney, Ohio. First floor fellowship hall, 50-50 drawing and prize drawings. Please bring a covered dish or dessert and a friend. Any other announcements?
Kevin, I'm gonna call it.
Kevin.
Greenville Saturday night meeting is having a thing, I think it's the 21st, maybe? Does that sound
It does.
about right?
Yeah.
And I believe they're having sandwiches or something before the meeting, and then they'll have a regular meeting at 7 o'clock, and then I think they're having fellowship after if anybody wants to stick around a little bit.
That's at the
It's
hospital.
at the hospital.
Hospital, yep. That's the 22nd night.
21st.
21st.
So it's a Saturday night.
Good night.
Next Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any other announcements? All right, the person that's going to give the lead tonight is the person that picked his 36-year token up. I've heard him several times. We've been to a lot of meetings together. I consider him a good friend in the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. Without further ado, and we're passing the basket around too, so we're self-supporting their own contribution. So without further ado, I'll give my friend Leo from Ansonia.